Welcome to Harvest to Pour, the business of beverages, with your host, Matthew Shipp. This is the podcast for all of those who are involved in the agriculture all the way to the distribution of beverages. And now your host, Matthew Shipp.
Hello and welcome to Harvest to Pour. I'm your host, Matthew Shipp, and today I'm here with Ellen Tisdale, the owner of Bull Creamery in St. Charles, Missouri. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How about you?
Great. So tell us a little bit about Bull Creamery. It's a franchise, correct?
Yes, Bull Creamery is a liquid nitrogen franchise where every single item is made to order. So we make ice creams and milkshakes, and our entire menu can come vegan and dairy-free. What really makes us different is we can infuse it with alcohol. So it's just in addition to the nitrogen, it's a fun twist on a classic treat.
So making them a little more grown up.
Oh, yes.
Oh, nice. So give us a brief introduction of yourself, how you came to want a Bull Creamery franchise, and just take us through that.
Sure. So I am a geneticist by trade. So I got to the point in my career where I love science. I always will, but I wanted to own my own business. I really wanted kind of like a neighborhood vibe where I sold different things and people could come, study or just whatever. So when I found the Bull concept, I actually visited the Pigeon Forge location in Tennessee, and I immediately fell in love. I was like, nitrogen, science, yes. Alcohol, yes. Dairy-free, yes. Okay, I'm sold.
Nice.
So it's just been a great fit for me because it scratches my science itch. I get to talk to people all day. I'm making people happy all day. It's just been really fun for me.
Okay, I can definitely identify with that. And like some people have heard podcast, I was a molecular plant biologist, and I pivoted out of that problem solving, and we always have that connection there, that piece, right. And it's really fun to kind of geek out on these things, and people kind of turn their head, look at you like, are they excited about that part? So I love it. It's great. So how long have you been here?
So I've been in business for 2 years next month. My first location was in the streets of St. Charles. After a year and a half, we moved to this location, which is 4 times the size. That's how much we needed to grow after a year and a half. So I've been at this location about 6 months now.
Oh, so you had a great problem to solve for.
Yes.
So take us through that. So what was getting started? What were some of your challenges getting this going, finding your locations, and then again moving?
So getting it going, I had no food experience, no retail experience, only people management and project management. But I was like, I can do it. No.
Okay.
So
take us through that. How hard is that to learn?
Immediately started off sinking. But of course, I had the product under control, all of that. But I was not prepared for how in demand we would be. I started my team with 4 people. I was thinking, okay, 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening, we're good. No, first day, I was like, okay, I need to double my staff. So how do I recruit staff?
Wow.
And then it took probably over a year to finally get in a good groove where I had reliable staff, where I had a good training program, where I wasn't like, someone please help us, we need help. We're so busy. But I kind of bumped my head in every way that you can. But now I'm super confident in my team. They pretty much run the ship without me now. I just kind of
awesome.
Pop in for fun.
So you mentioned bumping your head in every way you can. How do you see yourself through that?
I have a very strong spiritual background, so my faith definitely got me through. But I knew that this was the thing for me. So many things aligned for me that I knew the small setbacks weren't permanent setbacks. So going through equipment failures and tank failures, inventory things, staffing shortages, because I started in 2022. So just coming off of COVID. How do I make my store competitive? Why would people work for me when they could go to Quick Trip and work for $16 an hour? So and so. So it took a lot of trial and error to define what retains people. And now everybody on my team, I've had almost a year, if not more. So I'm definitely at the point of retention, but it took a lot of trial and error.
So speaking of team, so what have you found? Because team and retention is a big deal, the beverage industry and many other industries. So what have you found that keeps people wanting to be a part of this, despite maybe pay different?
I treat them like humans. I'm very aware that life is happening for everyone. No one is above the ebbs and flows of daily life, especially as an adult. So I make sure that I pay a good wage. My employees keep all cash tips at the end of the night. They get card tips at the end of the week for benefits. If they need a mental health day, I just ask them, be honest with me and tell me. you don't have it in you today, that's fine. Because a lot of times I don't have it either. So, I don't want you to Superman or Superwoman this out, and just making sure I keep that human element. And I think that's what draws customers back too, is because a lot of times people want to talk about the process and want to hear what's going on and what we're doing to their ice cream and what are the different steps. So it really takes a friendly and outgoing person to talk to customers about that, and then just recognizing that everybody on my team really matters. And I just make sure to let them know that they're valued here.
Okay. And while building a team and going through those trial and errors, did you find some guidance for business owners, or was this just like, let's try this today?
I hired one great manager who turned into my business coach, and she does coaching now full time. So once I hired her, she was like, oh, you need help.
That's a good business coach.
She's like, I can tell you've never done this before. So I'm going to slap you upside the head a little bit, and we're going to regroup and do it all again.
That's awesome.
So it's funny. I always say we used to bump heads a lot, but it was the push I needed to really rethink my strategy, rethink how I was approaching everything. And she went and recruited an entirely new team. She encouraged me to promote other people into leadership in the team. So I could not be here without her. And I tell her that probably daily.
That's awesome. Yeah, that still goes to prove that every time I've talked to is there's always somebody else there. You can't really do this on. There's always somebody helping you out that's been there before. Great. I'm glad this trend continues. All right. So is there any other big challenges you had to overcome while getting started as far as the location? Tell us about the location.
So the franchise has a real estate person that kind of does some market analysis and helps you find a location. So that particular part wasn't hard. Once I realized I needed more space, my same manager knew another commercial realtor that said, oh, I just know of a great space that just opened up, and there was already an ice cream shop there. So that's how we ended up here pretty seamlessly. So I would say just knowing the right people in the right places.
Wow. So where do you feel that you had to just kind of take that step? I don't know.
Man. So let's see. I opened in May of 2022. By March of 2023, I was still working my day job. So I was working, 12 hours on my feet at the store every day of the week, 8 hours at my computer for my work from home job, 12 hours a day, 8 hours a day, all that overlapping. And I was just falling apart. I had to have 2 surgeries by the end of 2022. Took me a long time to recover. It was I wasn't getting things done at home. I was just something's got to give. And I feel like now is the time to jump head on into entrepreneurship. So I left my day job, which was a big leap. Most people are like, don't you need to have 3 years worth of money saved up? And I said, I can't go on like this. I am falling apart at the seams. So I took that leap, and it's been over a year now that I've been doing this full time. And some days it's okay, we didn't have a great week. So what's the most important thing to pay? Is it my son's tuition? Is it our light bill? Is it my staff? Is it the inventory? So, that's kind of always going to be there. But when your heart is in it and you have the right people around you, you're led to where you need to go.
Excellent. All right. When we get into a little bit of the heart of the show here, I'd like to talk about to everybody their harvest to pour journey. Now, this may not be when I'm talking to a producer, I'm usually, where you're harvesting your grapes for your wine. But in this case, the harvest is where you're sourcing your ingredients in your case, but why they're important to product you make, and then also how you make that product or uniquely what BuzzBull does. And the pour finally goes into sort of the marketing, how you get back, what are you doing, what are you finding that works, what doesn't work, and any kind of challenges along that harvest pair.
Sure. So I've tried to replace as many inventory items as I can from big retailers to local farms. So I work with the Day Farm here in St. Louis, well, not in St. Charles, but in St. Louis to source my honey. And one of our best sellers is our honey bourbon pecan. So let's put some fresh honey in there and really bring that fresh flavor to it. I've worked with Prairie Farms locally for dairy. I have another one that just went out of my brain. But when I find someone who makes something that I use, even if it's, a specific cup manufacturer or a napkin manufacturer or whatever, those kind of things I look for, or local printing, t-shirt printing company, stuff like that, instead of just going to Vista Print. So I try to keep it local as much as possible.
Even down to the cost of goods. That's interesting. I like that. All right. So Now you source these local. Have you noticed a difference in sourcing the local and what sells or products here?
Mina's Roasting is where I get my coffee from. It came
There it
back to
is.
me.
I was wondering about coffee. I was like, yeah, I have a coffee
Yeah.
flavored one.
So it's not so much, I wouldn't say like customers have said, oh, this honey tastes different than the last honey. But what it does is when I say this honey is sourced locally, it gives people more of a buy-in. So now that farm can say, hey, you can catch our products, here at Buzz Bull. Mina's Roasting came in and we did just a whole fun day. Yeah, it gives the companies I'm working with a little marketing on their part, and then we just get to have fun and try new things. I also worked with a local wine distributor as well. Last summer, we did wine sorbet, and that was so much fun. But to be honest, me and my staff loved it more than the customers. We were playing with it so much. I'm like, today we have blackberry. Today we have strawberry. Today we have this.
That goes right back to your background, your genetics.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. And so this is actually leading really well into the pour. So are you finding that attachment to the local and source, does you see a higher sale of those products? Or do you see it at least helping bring people in?
For sure, for helping bringing people in. When I was working with Mina's Roasting, I had their folks come in and like, we just love their cold brew. And it turns out their cold brews and your ice cream, that's the only flavor I'm ever going to get. I don't even like ice cream, but if it's got their coffee in it, I'm going to get it. So it's just been really fun and interesting, especially when we try out new flavors as well.
Okay. And are there any other like marketing pieces you're using to let people know where you are? I mean, you just moved, so you had to let everybody know you moved. Then now you let everybody know the size of your footprint and what you can do with it. So how's that going?
I'm finally at the point to outsource some marketing. So I'm working with a few different marketing folks. My main marketing person, her name is Brittany Alberti. She's with the Marketing Midwife. She got me connected with St. Louis Mom and Sauce Magazine and some other features. I've kind of done the local news circuits a few times as well, working on a billboard. I do a lot of mailers as well to the local community, especially people moving in through a program called Town Hall. Pretty much anything I hear about, I try. So I don't have like a proven market strategy, but when someone comes in and says, hey, I do this thing, and I'm like, okay, let's do it.
So you are still experimenting.
Oh, yes.
That's
always.
awesome. So you're always testing, experimenting. Again, I say more of a science as you get back into this entrepreneur thing, because there's definitely teaches you a lot on the way.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So I'm sure you run into new challenges. Do you address these with your team, or is this something you try to figure out on your own, or how do you address current challenges?
Now I open up with my team. I kind of had the perspective of, I'm the big boss. I got to figure it out. I don't want them to worry about anything. I don't want them to feel like, their job is insecure or something. But I learned pretty quickly. My team was like, hey, we're in this with you. We're running it with you. Just keep us in the know. So, and then just knowing that my team has my back, it's like, I knew that, but just them expressing it, like we see, you hear all the time, you're a human too. You make sure that we're treated like people. We're going to treat you like a person. You need us to do something, tell us.
Okay.
And just allowing my team to step up and fill whatever role they want to fill has been really rewarding.
That's awesome. And you allow that to happen. Okay. So moving on to kind of your business growth, where do you see yourself taking this business next?
I am already thinking about a next location in other cities.
Really?
I would really like to do some more in this building. I'm at the point now where the sky is truly the limit. I was kind of so down in the weeds of daily operations. I couldn't see much bigger. But now that I'm finally coming up for air and breathing well, I can see more opportunities. So I'd love to do more partnerships, especially as we go into the spring and summer. Some block parties with 2 plumbers next door. We've kind of floated that idea, doing different things with our patio, bringing ice cream to different places.
You mentioned, I'm going to just dive back into challenges one more time. You mentioned finally managed to get yourself out of the daily operations. How'd you go about that?
It was another one of those things where my business coach was like, hey, we got this, right? Like, you don't have to be here. And it was really when I had my surgeries that my team was like, we've trained, we're ready, take the time you need to recuperate. Don't feel like you need to be here. If something small comes up, if we run out of milk, one of us can go to Walmart and grab a gallon of milk until you come back. So just those kind of things. It forced me to do that. And then now that's where I am. So once my team got used to having that level of responsibility, me trying to come back in and say like, oh no, you don't need to work this time. I'm going to cut your hours so I can be in. They're like, no,
Nice. So
I'm
they
used to
kind
my
of
schedule. You stay back.
That is awesome. So now you get to be a servant leader.
Yes,
That
exactly.
is awesome. Okay. You've made that transition and in some ways the silver lining of that was getting injured.
Yes.
That's cool. All right. So since we're on team and we're doing really well with this, what do you believe your team is best at? I think we kind of covered that, but I want you to address that.
I think my team is best at pivoting, to be honest. When something changes, when we moved here, they were with it. When we changed our nitrogen system, they were with it. When I said, hey, we made a change to the menu, no problem. Anything that's come up, they've been more than willing to adjust. And, I haven't gotten kind of some of that typical, well, this is how we've always done it, or this is what the procedure says, or in my old job, we did this. It's always been, okay, let's go.
Wow. So what are some of the backgrounds your teams come from? Take us through how you've done that, because I'm sure a lot of businesses out there want to know this.
Yeah. So my same manager, she came from another fast food place and brought her whole team with her. And she was just like, here are the people I've worked with. They're great. They have management skills. I'm bringing them with me. I was like, okay. So once we got a really solid management strategy, a lot of my team are outside of management are part-time folks. So some of my sorority sisters, some kids that want their first job and just want to work a few hours a week. It runs the gambit. I have people on my team with PhDs. I have people on my team still in high school. I work with a lot of college students, of course, especially during the summer. My team is all over, but my leadership team all came from another fast food place.
That's awesome. That is a nice find. What manager you have there?
Yes.
Notice that wasn't even a breath in that. That was an immediate yes. All right. So if somebody wants to start something like you have, and whether it's a franchise or start their own brick and mortar business, the beverage industries or food, what advice do you have for them?
Kind of like, where do I start? I would say don't try to reinvent the wheel. There are people out here doing it. Align yourself with them. See who their suppliers are. See kind of what some of their challenges are. Are there things you can anticipate? Do you see something in their business model you want to improve? Don't feel like you have to start from scratch, because there are a lot of things out there and you can make those connections and still differentiate yourself. That's been huge for me, just talking to other people in the field, whether it's a tap room or a wine bar or any of those things, just kind of seeing what they're going through. Is there an opportunity for collaboration here? Are you using a supplier I'm not familiar with? Just some of those things that beyond, how am I going to pay the rent? How am I going to hire people? Once you get past those, what can you do for inventory and suppliers?
Go learn about other businesses, do some market research, talk to them. I'm sure you talk to a lot of business owners.
Yes.
Started in this and find out do's and don'ts. All right. And even when you know the do's and don'ts, you still run into the don'ts. Yeah. All right. And then what is the most important thing you've learned starting as a geneticist all the way to now a business owner in your career?
I believe, so like microbiology, right? Genetics, where it's all under the microscope. It's what can we see? What patterns can we find? That training to look for a complex system, complex patterns, how to problem solve at that level has really allowed me to problem solve at this level. A lot of people are like, genetics and ice cream, there's no correlation. There's actually a ton of correlation.
A lot of correlation. Oh, yeah.
If my ice cream isn't freezing correctly, why is that? Is it the alcohol? Is it the ingredient? Maybe, is it an issue with my tank? Is it an issue with the bowl I'm using? Did my tablet crash? Kind of walking through all those possible things, because in genetics, anything is possible. If you can't explain it, random mutation. But I can't say random mutation.
Random mutation.
Yeah.
Well, random mutation might end up being an awesome product.
Right.
So in that case, happy mistakes.
Yeah.
But yeah, the little eureka moments that we always hope for. But yeah, also when we're really good at conversion.
Yes.
So that always helps in the restaurant type of side of things. Also, okay, so I got a couple more questions. This next one can be hard, can be easy. So what is your favorite beverage here within Bull Creamery? And what is your favorite beverage when you're not at work?
Okay. My favorite beverage here for myself, I always make myself a coffee milkshake with cookie dough and bourbon.
Coffee milkshake, cookie dough, and bourbon. Wow.
Sometimes brownies, sometimes Reese's. A lot of my team calls it Ellen's kitchen sink, but they know the base is the coffee.
Any particular bourbon you like in that?
Depends on the day. Some day I want something a little smoother. Sometimes I'm just like, you know what? Just need a quick pick me up.
That's awesome. Okay, so what about the one when you're not feeling ice cream or you're just not here?
I love champagne.
Champagne.
Any
All
sparkling wine. I'll take Prosecco. I'll take a sparkling Riesling. That's kind of like my treat to myself is champagne.
Champagne. All right. Okay. And finally, do you have any upcoming events, promotions, or just coming here and getting it?
Yeah, so we're constantly trying new flavors, testing new products like the wine sorbet. We're bringing in, right now we have mango and pineapple are probably some of our fun spring and summertime flavors. And our space is available for rent. So for parties, graduation season is coming. We'd love to host your graduation party or whatever you want to do, your birthday party, retirement party, whatever it may be. Come celebrate with us.
That's awesome. Yeah, they have a really big space, nice tall ceilings, plenty of room. Yeah, you could definitely do a lot here. You have some games. You have kind of a game night here as well.
Yeah.
So you're really trying to build a community around this. Wow.
Exactly. I want people, kid parties and adult parties, whatever you want, we can tailor it to your needs.
That's awesome. All right. Well, this has been really neat. I mean, you've taken us through starting this up, realizing you don't know it all yet, finding that manager / business coach and butting heads. I been there too, but usually in the end, you eventually learn time to listen, and you've really taken to that, even down to a team that they say they talk, listen. You've been able to flip that role into a servant leader, which is where you want to be, looking to grow already. And you've only been at this, 2-3 years?
It'll be 2 years next month.
2 years next month. So I do believe you're on your way. I love this. And then you said your team is awesome at pivoting. So yeah, continue to grow your team, listen to your team. And other business owners and ones looking to start something like yours will take this and maybe get one more step ahead of where you started from. That's what we hope so for here on Harvest to Pour. All right. Well, Ellen, thank you very much, and we'll talk soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening to Harvest to Pour, the business of beverages with Matthew Shep. Check the show notes for our guest contact information. And connect with Matthew Shep on LinkedIn today.